Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Awesome Radio on WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. Welcome to another empowering broadcast with Get Life Educational Empowerment. I am your host, Sherida Suggs, Principal, Educational Coach, motivational speaker, and passionate advocate for all things encompassing students, family, school, and community success. I am so excited that you have chosen to spend this time with us as we continue our journey of growth, collaboration, and empowerment. I'm so thrilled to be your partner in purpose. If you are tuned in live on Awesome Radio's Facebook or YouTube, we see you and we welcome you. Or should I say, welcome back to our incredible viewing family. You could be anywhere this afternoon, but you chose to be here with us, and that means so much. Before we jump into today's broadcast, I want to take a moment to celebrate a group of educators who enrich our schools, broaden our perspectives, and strengthen our communities. Our international teachers. Educational empowerment begins when we recognize the value that every person brings to the learning environment. International teachers arrive with a wealth of knowledge, diverse experiences, rich cultural traditions, and a passion for educating the next generation. They leave behind familiar places, family members, lifelong friendships, their parents, children, spouses, and the comfort of their own home to answer the call to teach and educate students of America. The journey is not easy. Many arrive in a new country with unfamiliar customs, different educational systems, and the challenge of building a life from the ground up. Yet, despite these challenges, they show up each day ready to inspire, ready to encourage and educate. Our international teachers teach far more than academic content. They teach resilience, they teach adaptability, they teach the beauty of cultural exchange through their stories, traditions, and perspectives, helping students become global citizens who appreciate and respect people from all walks of life. We honor their courage here at Get Life Educational Empowerment. We honor their dedication and commitment to education. We thank them for sharing their gifts, cultures, and their hearts with our schools, families, and communities. Your presence truly matters. Your work, sacrifice, and the impact that you make matters, and it reaches far beyond the classroom walls. As we continue with today's broadcast, let us remember that education is strongest when diverse voices are welcome, respected, and celebrated. To all of our international teachers, thank you so much for helping to shape the future one student at a time. This leads me to today's topic. I recently came across a phrase on social media that immediately captured my attention: leadership and grounded heritage through having optimal understanding. This was posted on a classmate's page, again, Jamaica Dixon. The more I reflected on it, the more I realized how powerful it connects to the experiences of many international teachers who came to America to educate our American students. When international educators arrive in the United States, they do not come empty handed. They arrive carrying generations of culture, traditions, values, wisdom, and experiences. They come grounded in heritage. They bring perspectives and leadership that have shaped who they are as educators. Yet, for many entering in American classrooms, it can be a culture shock. The educational system may be different. Student behaviors may be different. Parent involvement may look different. Expectations, communication styles, and even classroom routines may not be what they have experienced throughout their careers. Conversations with international teachers. I have often heard stories about the excitement and the challenges. Excitement about the opportunities to teach in a new country and impact young lives, but also the challenges that come with adapting to an unfamiliar culture and educational environment. And this is where the encouragement and empowerment come in. International educational leaders remain grounded in heritage while having optimal understanding. I offer a simple piece of encouragement. Embrace American culture, but continue to protect your own. You do not have to abandon the values that help make you successful. You do not have to leave your heritage at the classroom door. In fact, your culture, traditions, and experiences are welcome and among your greatest strengths. I encourage you to teach your students about your country. Share your customs. Let them practice appropriately your culture. Think about how much it is that we can learn from one another. Let's practice these and think about leadership and developing the understanding necessary to thrive in the environment while remaining grounded in who you are. That is what optimal understanding looks like. It is the ability to appreciate differences without abandoning your values. It is the willingness to learn and also having the encourage to teach. It is finding balance between adapting into a new culture and honoring the one that shaped you. Today, we will explore how international educators can transform their heritage into leadership, how cultural understanding can strengthen our schools, and how the rich traditions and values that they bring can help inspire students to rise towards excellence. While preparing today's broadcast, a statement came to mind. The strongest leaders do not lose themselves when entering a new environment. They remain grounded in their heritage while developing the understanding necessary to lead, teach, and inspire others. This resonated with me because what does it mean to lead while staying connected to your roots? How do we embrace new environments without abandoning the values that shape us? The challenge becomes, how do you adapt without losing yourself? Today, we will explore how heritage can become a leadership strength rather than a barrier. When people hear the word heritage, they often think about nationality, language, or traditions, but heritage is much deeper than that. Heritage includes our values, beliefs, work ethic, respect for family, our views on education, our understanding of responsibility. These things shape how we lead. So I want you to think about the following questions. What values from your upbringing will guide your decisions today? What traditions taught you discipline, perseverance, or respect? How has your heritage influenced your leadership style? Because as educators, we often bring more than lesson plans to school. We often bring generations of wisdom, expectations, and experiences. Think about one value that you learned growing up that you wish that every child could experience or learn. One of the most powerful examples of leadership through heritage can be found in our amazing international educators. When they leave their homes, families, and countries to teach in America, they arrive excited and hopeful. Then reality sets in. I have had conversations with international teachers who share with me that in my country, students stand when teachers enter the room, or parents closely monitor academic progress in my country. Education is viewed as a pathway to opportunity in my country. For many, the American educational system can feel different. But here is a get life key leadership point that leadership is not abandoning your values to fit in. Think about what made you successful. And how can international teachers adapt to American schools without sacrificing their cultural strengths? And this is where optimal understanding becomes important. Understanding says, I can learn from you without becoming you. I can respect your culture while honoring my own. I can adapt without losing my identity. And so here are some reflective points: flexibility versus compromise, adaptation versus assimilation, respecting differences, and maintaining cultural pride. Embrace American culture while continuing to protect your own. This is so important. We want you to keep your important values, keep your standards, keep your pride. Teach your students about your country. Share your customs. Share your language. Share your stories. Your stories matter. Your heritage matters. And it is something to take pride in. It is something that enriches the classrooms and the school environment. When you enter an American school environment, I encourage you to bring it on. Bring your culture with you. Think about what traditions from your culture would benefit today's students if they were taught it more often. One of the greatest gifts an educator can give is perspective. And that is one of the things that our international teachers bring, their perspective. Perspective through different experiences, different ways of life, and different understandings of the world, which helps students to understand that the world is bigger than their school, their neighborhood, their city, surrounding cities, and even their states. Your discussion topics with your students, it can expand students' thinking. It introduces global perspectives, it teaches respect for diversity, and it builds cultural awareness. Think about one lesson from your country that every American student can benefit from learning. Share this with your students and encourage them to grow from it. Think about respect for elders. Think about responsibility, community service, academic excellence, gratitude, and family commitment. These are all positive opportunities for growth of American students. You will find that these are also values that American teachers and American leaders want students to learn too. So imagine how, if together, those values can be instilled in students. Remember that even though you come from a different place, that you are not walking this road alone. Bring those values with you. Bring that cultural awareness with you. When students learn about different cultures, they don't lose their identity. They gain an understanding that is the foundation of leadership, your leadership. This show is about educational empowerment, and I want to take the time to empower our international teachers and leaders. Many international leaders have shared that education is deeply valued in their own country. However, many times it doesn't seem to be valued in America. Sometimes it doesn't seem to be valued, but it actually is. And I encourage you that rather than seeing this as a difference, let's see it as an opportunity to raise expectations for American students, an opportunity to teach perseverance, an opportunity for academic accountability, an opportunity for strong parent partnerships, an opportunity for students to take ownership and accountability for their learning. I encourage educators to model these opportunities and values. Teach them to your students. Live them for your students. They need it. Students rise when expectations rise. Students rise when beliefs in students rise. See, when leaders don't just simply accept the culture around them, the best leaders positively influence the culture around them. And I encourage all teachers, American or international, to be the best leaders. Hold these students accountable. While we're on our break, I want you to think about the positive values from your heritage that you can intentionally pass on to the next generation. Today's conversation reminds us that leadership begins with identity. When we know who we are, where we come from, what we value, we are better prepared to lead others to where they are going. Because where they go becomes where someone else comes from, what they value, and how they prepare to lead others. Our heritage is not a limitation, it is a foundation. Your heritage is not a limitation. Your heritage is a valuable foundation. Bring your heritage with you. It allows us to appreciate differences. Leadership allows us to build bridges, and education allows us to transform lives. Whether you were born in America or arrived here from a different part of the world, your experiences matter. Your culture matters. Your values matter. And I encourage you to stay grounded in your heritage. Seek understanding, lead with purpose, and empower others to do the same. Strong leaders embrace new horizons without forgetting their roots. Through understanding, heritage becomes a bridge to excellence. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hello, 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 and welcome back to Get Life Educational Empowerment right here on the Awesome Radio Network. If you would like to be a guest on our show, share ideas for future episodes, or ask a question, I would truly love to hear from you. Please feel free to email me at getlifeempowerment@gmail.com. That is GITLIFE empowerment@gmail.com. You can also call the Awesome Radio station at 252-756-2008 and leave a message. Don't be shy. Be sure to reach out. Today, we are talking about a group of professionals who often make extraordinary sacrifices, yet their stories are not always heard, understood, or appreciated. There are teachers. They are not just any teachers, they are educators, they are leaders, they are our amazing international teachers. Educators who cross oceans, continents, cultures, and comfort zones to stand in classrooms across America and pour into the lives of our children. We are honoring them today. It is about recognizing their courage, understanding their journey, and it is about giving them the respect that they deserve. When people see an international teacher, they often see an accent before they see a degree. They hear a different pronunciation before they hear the wisdom. They notice what is unfamiliar before they notice the sacrifice. But what if they pause along the way to understand their story? What if they looked beyond where they come from and recognize what they have overcome? Because behind every international teacher is a journey that most of us could never imagine. Many people assume that international teachers leave their countries simply for better pay. While financial opportunities may be one reason for some, it is rarely the whole story. International teachers come to America for many different reasons. Some come seeking professional growth and opportunities. Some want to experience a different educational system, regardless of geography. Some come to support aging parents back home. Some come to create opportunities for their children. Some come because there are limited opportunities in their own countries, despite their education and qualifications. Some come because they simply want to make a difference in the world. Some come because they care deeply for our American students. Some come because they want to bring back to their country things that they've learned in America. Regardless the reason, one thing remains true. No one leaves everything they know without courage. No one leaves family, friends, traditions, language, food, culture, celebrations, and familiarity unless they believe that the sacrifice is worth it. And American students, you are worth it. The sacrifice is for you, and sacrifice is what they make. Imagine packing your life into a few suitcases, not because you're moving across town, not because you're relocating to another state, but because you are moving to another country. Imagine saying goodbye to your parents. Imagine hugging your grandmother, not knowing when or if you will ever see her again. Imagine leaving siblings, cousins, lifelong friends, and neighbors. Imagine missing the everyday moments that suddenly become priceless. Now imagine boarding a plane, not knowing that you will ever see your family again. Those thousands of miles are separating you from the people that you know you love. That is the reality of many international teachers. Some have husbands, wives, children, fiancés, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, families, cousins that they are leaving. I want you to let that settle in for a moment. There are teachers who have stood in front of classrooms all day teaching American students while their own children are in another country or continent. There are teachers who help students solve problems while privately carrying the pain of missing their own families. There are teachers who smile in the school hallways while silently fighting battles, counting the days when they can hear their loved ones' voices again. That kind of sacrifice deserves honor. Then, when they arrive to America, for many of us, when we move, we have support systems. We have relatives nearby, family, friends. We know where to shop. We know where to go. We know how things work. Whereas international teachers often arrive with none of these advantages. Many come to America with only luggage. No home, no furniture, no vehicle, no established friendships, no support network, no roadmap. Some arrive to America one day only to start work the next day. Some come only with faith and luggage. Faith that somehow things will work out. Imagine arriving to a new country and needing to figure out everything from scratch. How do you open up a bank account? How do you get transportation? How do you get a driver's license? How do you rent an apartment? How do you understand healthcare? How do you get furniture? How do you navigate insurance? How do you learn local customs? How do you survive in a place where everything is unfamiliar? While many Americans are sleeping comfortably in their homes they've lived in for years, some international teachers are spending their evenings trying to figure out how they're going to build, where they're going to live. And then there's the loneliness, something that we don't talk about enough. Loneliness can be overwhelming. There are evenings when the apartment is quiet, too quiet. There are moments when homesickness hits unexpectedly, a song, a meal that triggers a memory, a holiday, a family photograph, a video call home, and suddenly the distance feels enormous. Many international teachers experience isolation. They miss hearing familiar voices. They miss speaking in ways that require no explanation. They miss traditions. They miss celebrations, belonging. They miss home. Sometimes people assume that because someone is smiling that they are doing fine, but strength often wears a smile. Courage often wears a smile. Loneliness often wears a smile. Many international teachers continue showing up every day despite carrying emotional burdens that no one sees. And let's go back to the culture shock that they experience. Even something as simple as grocery shopping can be stressful. The foods are different. The brands are different. The taste is different. The systems are different. The expectations are different. The language may be English, but the expressions, the slang, and cultural references can feel like an entirely different language. In the classroom, cultural differences can be even more significant. Educational practices vary across the world. Student expectations vary. Parent expectations vary. Communication styles, discipline, relationships, they all vary. What feels normal in one country may feel unfamiliar in another. International teachers often have to learn all of this while simultaneously teaching. Imagine starting a new job where every day feels like learning a new language, a new culture, a new system all at once. That takes resilience, that takes patience, that takes determination. That is a heavy load to carry. And unfortunately, the welcome is not always a warm welcome. Sometimes people make assumptions. Sometimes people question competence because of the accent or the way that they dress. Sometimes people underestimate them because they come from a different country, because they look different, smile differently, dress differently. Sometimes people are prejudiced. Sometimes people focus on differences instead of embracing strengths. Sometimes people forget that these individuals are highly educated professionals. Many international teachers hold bachelor's, master's degrees. Some have doctorate degrees. Many hold years of classroom experiences. Many hold years of wisdom. Many have spent decades perfecting their craft, yet too often they find themselves having to prove what they already know, having to prove their intelligence, having to prove their worth, having to prove that they belong. And the truth is, they should not have to prove their humanity. They should not have to prove their value. They deserve dignity from the moment that they arrive, and they are worthy of it. Now, let's think about them as the gift and the gift that they bring. International teachers bring something powerful to our schools. They bring perspective. They broaden our students' understanding of the world. They introduce different viewpoints, different experiences, tradition, and ways of thinking in a world that is increasingly connected. That matters. When students learn from people who come from different nations and cultures, they learn something bigger than academics. They learn empathy, they learn respect, they learn curiosity. They learn that the world is larger than their neighborhood, larger than their city, their state, their schools, their community. International teachers help prepare students to become global learners and global citizens. And that is a gift. Not only is it a gift, but it is also a gift that takes courage. International teachers bring a courage that we don't see. Sometimes courage is not standing on a battlefield. Sometimes courage is boarding a plane. Sometimes courage is saying goodbye. Sometimes courage is starting over. Sometimes courage is walking into a classroom while carrying homesickness in your heart. Sometimes courage is continuing forward when no one fully understands what you have left behind. International teachers demonstrate that kind of courage each and every single day. They teach through uncertainty. They teach through loneliness. They teach through cultural adjustments. They teach through challenges. And they do it all because they believe in children. They believe in education. They believe in themselves. And they believe in possibility. So I want us to take the time to embrace our international teachers. When you see an international teacher, don't just see where they come from. See how far they traveled. See the airports, the long flights, the tears at the departure gates. See the family members left behind. See the empty apartments, the furniture that they had to build or buy, the bus routes that they had to learn, the lonely nights, the video calls home. See the courage that it took to start over. See the sacrifices that they continue to make. And let's honor them. Let's respect them. Let's welcome them. Let's support them. Let's encourage them. Let's empower them because every international teacher carries a story of resilience, a story of sacrifice, hope, a story of courage. And while they may have come from a different country, from different cultures and different backgrounds, they all share one common purpose: to educate, to empower, to inspire, to serve our American students, to help shape the future through the lives of children. And for that reason, and for so many more reasons, international teachers deserve not only our appreciation, but our deepest respect. So, to every international teacher, we at Get Life Educational Empowerment thank you for your courage. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your belief in our children. Thank you for making America, our schools, our communities richer because you chose to share yourselves and your gifts with us. We're going to take another break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get Life Educational Empowerment on the Awesome Radio Network. I would like to take this time to provide some encouragement for international teachers. Encouragement and empowerment regarding building positive relationships with students. One of the greatest gifts that international teachers bring to American classrooms is not just their knowledge of content, but the richness of their culture, experiences, and perspectives. Remember that today's show topic is leadership grounded in heritage through having optimal understanding. So, allowing students to receive the optimal understanding of who you are as an international teacher and what you bring, including the passion that you bring to the table, really helps students to be able to understand, respect, and trust not only the phenomenal leader that you are, but the phenomenal person that you are. Students are often fascinated by people who have traveled across oceans, experienced different ways of life, and can offer a view of the world beyond their community. Your story matters, and it can be a bridge that connects you to your students and connects your students to higher heights and the rest of the world. Take time to teach students about your home country. Share your traditions, values, celebrations, foods, languages, customs, and the lessons that shape you. Invite your students to do the same. When students learn about where you come from, they begin to see the beauty and diversity and gain a greater appreciation for the world around them. When you learn about your students and where they come from, it helps you to learn more about the community that you serve. More importantly, use those values as opportunities to help students to see value in themselves. If your culture emphasizes respect, perseverance, family, education, service, or community, show students how these same principles can help them become successful, productive global citizens. Help them understand that excellence, integrity, and character are not all limited to one country, or culture. There are universal qualities that can elevate everyone's life. As you build these relationships Remember that cultural differences should never become barriers. Approach your students with curiosity, patience, and understanding. Learn about their experiences just as you teach them about yours. Relationships are strongest when learning flows both ways. It is also important to guard against the mindset that one culture is superior to another. Never view yourself as above Americans and likewise Americans. Never allow yourselves to feel less than anyone else because you are from another country. Remember your value and also remember mutual respect creates the foundation for meaningful connections. The goal is not comparison. However, the goal is contribution and embrace of one another and each other's differences. Scripture reminds us, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. As international teachers, there will be aspects of the American culture that may surprise you, challenge you, and even frustrate you. Rather than resisting every difference, seek wisdom to understand what is unfamiliar. Dig deep and find ways to embrace the positive aspect of American culture while continuing to honor and persevere through your own heritage. You do not have to abandon who you are to become successful in America. In fact, your uniqueness is one of your greatest qualities and strengths. Hold on to your beautiful identity, your values, and your traditions. At the same time, remember open to learning, growing, and adapting. The most effective international teachers are those who can stand firmly in their own culture while respectfully engaging with another. Have pride in where you come from. Celebrate your heritage, celebrate your journey, but never become so consumed with pride that it prevents you from enjoying and learning from others. Humility opens doors that pride can never unlock. When students seek confidence balanced with humility, they see a powerful example of leadership. Remember, every day you enter into your classroom, you are doing more than teaching lessons. You are building bridges between cultures. You are expanding minds. You are helping young people see that the world is bigger than they can even imagine. And through your examples, the students learn that differences do not have to divide us, they can enrich us. I encourage you to continue to teach, continue to share, continue to learn, and continue to be proud ambassadors of your culture while embracing the opportunities that America has placed before you. Your influence reaches far beyond the classroom walls. And the relationship that you build today may impact your students for the rest of their lives. I want to share a personal story that helped me and impacted me the way that I have experienced the greatness of international educators. When I was a student in community college, I enrolled in a math class, which was a subject that I must admit was not my strongest. It was one of those classes that required me to work extra hard. On the first day of class, my instructor was an international professor. The very first thought that crossed my mind was, how am I supposed to understand this math when I can barely understand it in English? I immediately became concerned about the language barrier. As he began teaching, I found myself struggling to understand his accent and communication style. The more confused I became, the more frustrated I became. I eventually dropped the class because I felt that I could not be successful under those circumstances. Looking back on that experience, I learned some valuable lessons that I want to share with both international teachers and students. First, for our amazing international teachers, language and communication barriers are real. Sometimes students genuinely may not understand what you are saying, not because they do not want to learn and not because they are unwilling, but because communication can be challenging. The understanding can be challenging. Be patient and be willing to repeat yourself. Be willing to check for understanding, ask questions, provide examples, present information in multiple ways. But I also learned something else. The challenge was not entirely about my professor, it was about me. I had already decided in my mind that I would not be able to learn from him before I even gave him a chance. I allowed my assumptions to create a barrier before the lesson even began. So, this message is for also students. When you have an international teacher, give them a chance. Remember that these educators left their homes, families, cultures, and comfort zones to come to America and teach. They were hired because they are qualified, they are educated, they have valuable knowledge to share. They are not here by accident. I eventually ended up having to get an international tutor. After leaving that math class and enrolling in a different math class with an American speaking teacher, I still didn't understand the math. The math still won't mathing. Therefore, I was able to secure an international tutor where I spent long and intimate hours with that took the time to help me to understand. So, just remember that our international teachers bring knowledge and they are willing to help you as long as you're willing to ask for that help. In order to overcome those language barriers or the barriers of understanding, we have to be willing students, willing to be grounded in what our goals are and overcome the obstacles by digging deeper. The same way that we expect educators to dig deeper for us, we have to dig deeper as students within ourselves and be willing learners, willing to learn, change, ask questions, accept, and embrace, receive from someone different from ourselves. Show them the same respect that you would show any teacher. Too often, too often, teachers think that people think that students don't have responsibilities because they're students, but part of being a student is learning about your responsibilities and taking accountability and ownership for your learning. On the first day of class, you are expected from our American and international teachers to decide that you can learn from someone despite them speaking a different language or a different dialect than you. Give them a chance, listen, ask questions, seek understanding. That is what I did as a student, and that is how I overcame the math barrier. And now I enjoy math. I enjoy teaching math and helping students to overcome their barriers in math. Because the truth is that communication barriers exist everywhere. Two people can speak the same language and have the same dialect and still misunderstand each other. Miscommunication does not indicate a lack of intelligence. It simply means that understanding has not yet been accomplished. Therefore, you can request, please help me to understand this better. As educators, we already know that students learn differently. Some students are visual learners, some learn by hearing, some learn by doing, some learn through repetition, some learn through projects and presentations, some learn through hands on experiences. Good teaching has always required us to present information in multiple ways. So I encourage you, international teachers, to continue using different methods to reach your students. Use visuals, demonstrations, practice repetition, check for understanding often. And students, remember that learning requires effort from you as well. If you don't understand, be respectful, be patient, ask questions, be willing to learn. Willing to learn from people whose experience and backgrounds are different from your own, but also valuable. There is also a cultural barrier that can exist. Students may use slang that teachers do not understand. Teachers may use phrases that students are unfamiliar with. Sometimes those misunderstandings are not discovered until a problem arises. That is why both sides must be willing to communicate, listen, and learn from one another. Remember that we are all in this together. The lesson that I learned from college math class is simple. Communication barriers are real, but they do not define a student's potential. Understanding takes effort from both sides. International teachers, I encourage you to be mindful that students may need information presented several times and in different ways. Students, I encourage you to be mindful that your teachers are human beings who deserve respect and appreciation. I also want you to remember that those teachers are the ones that you have to learn from. When we extend patience, grace, and understanding to one another, barriers become bridges and learning becomes possibilities for everyone. Let us pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you today for the gift of education and for every teacher who has answered the call to serve God and inspire students. We especially lift up our international teachers before you. Thank you so much, Lord, for the courage that it takes to leave home, families, friends, and familiar surroundings to come to a new country. Thank you for the knowledge, experience, culture, and wisdom that they bring into our classrooms each day. Strengthen them, dear Father, when they feel lonely. Encourage them when they feel misunderstood. Remind them that their work matters and that the seeds that they plant will produce fruit for generations to come. Father, please help our international teachers to navigate cultural differences with confidence, patience, and grace. Give them wisdom to communicate effectively and creativity to reach every learner. Let them feel welcome, valued, respected, and appreciated in the communities that they serve. Dear God, we also lay our students before you. Open their hearts and minds to learn from people whose backgrounds may be different from their own. Teach them to be respectful, kind, and understanding. Help them to recognize that every teacher has something valuable to offer and that learning can come from many voices, many experiences, and many perspectives. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. International teachers and all teachers alike, I want you to know that your sacrifice is not unnoticed. Every student, may they understand the value of those who have come to teach them. And may every school be strengthened by the relationship that is built between teachers and students from every culture and every walk of life. We thank you so much for traveling across oceans just for us. Thank you, international teachers, for the cultures that you bring, the purpose of learning, the growth, and the opportunity that you bring. This is the essence of Get Life, where every classroom becomes a place where diversity is celebrated, differences are respected, and everyone feels seen and valued. I am Sherida Suggs, and this has been Get Life Educational Empowerment on the Awesome Radio Network. I invite you to tune in every Tuesday from 3 to 4 p.m. as we explore real life experiences from today's schools and communities. Until next time, now and forever, let's get it together. Live in full expectancy. Empower education. Thank you for joining us.